This is 6 Minutes, the Seriously International Daily Newscast. It's Tuesday, February 11th, and I'm Jacob Shropshire.
And I'm Anne-Sophie Goninet. It's dinner time in Perth, Australia, while people are just having breakfast in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Here in the Worldcrunch newsroom in Paris, the lunch hour is arriving. These are the latest headlines. Hamas postpones the next hostage release, accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire. The EU vows firm countermeasures to US tariffs on steel and aluminum. And our daily quiz question comes to us from an auction house in the Big Apple. Our top story today is the postponement of the next release of Israeli hostages from Gaza. The militant group Hamas said late Monday it will delay the next release of hostages until further notice, accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire deal. Israel responded that the postponement was a complete violation of the ceasefire. US President Donald Trump warned that if Hamas does not release all remaining hostages from Gaza by midday on Saturday, Israel should cancel the ceasefire and, quote, let hell break out.
European leaders Tuesday vowed a tough response to upcoming US steel and aluminum tariffs. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen said the 27-nation bloc will take action to safeguard its economic interests. This comes after President Trump signed an increase on steel and aluminum tariffs to 25% on all nations without exemptions or exceptions.
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, turned down the buyout offer of $97.4 billion from a consortium of investors led by Elon Musk. The unsolicited offer to purchase the company was widely seen as the next step in an escalating showdown between two of the original founders of the company. Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering.
The front page of Romanian business daily Bursa showed an AI-generated image of teary-eyed President Klaus Iohannis writing about the president's resignation amid threats by lawmakers to have him impeached. The country was plunged into a constitutional crisis last year amid a court ruling that the presidential election had been tampered with. But legislative elections still gave the far-right parties enough leverage to potentially remove Iohannis. The Korean Herald wrote today about a teacher in her 40s who confessed to stabbing a student at an elementary school in the central city of Daejeon in an incident that has shocked the nation. The 8-year-old girl was found with stab wounds on Monday evening and was pronounced dead at the hospital.
And the press in Guatemala is covering the news of a bus accident that killed at least 55 people outside the capital. The bus veered off a highway bridge Monday and fell into a polluted ravine below. An investigation into the crash has been opened, while President Bernardo Arévalo declared a day of national mourning. We have an analysis from French public radio station France Inter about Donald Trump doubling down on a globally unpopular plan to force Palestinians out of Gaza and turn the coastal enclave into the Riviera of the Middle East. Jacob, walk us through this piece.
France Inter's Pieraski warns that Trump's nose for real estate is leading him into a dangerous trap. He writes, a few hours after Donald Trump's bombshell announcement that he planned to build the, quote, French Riviera of the Middle East in a Gaza Strip cleared of its Palestinian inhabitants, White House aides appeared to backtrack, as if the billionaire president had gotten carried away by his own real estate developers' enthusiasm. If anyone doubted whether the President of the United States was serious about this idea, so clearly condemned as illegal by most of the world, one thing is crystal clear after his near-daily remarks on the subject. Donald Trump truly means what he's saying, and that's where it gets dangerous. No single Arab state backs his plan for Gaza, yet in the Middle East, he has stepped into a delicate trap. By claiming responsibility for Gaza's future, he is pulling the United States back into the very kind of regional crises it had sought to avoid.
We have a piece from Egypt-based Al-Manassa on what comes next for the war in Sudan after 2 years of fighting. The author writes that there is no sign of a peaceful solution or military resolution on the horizon, and the latest developments have raised concern that the conflict will slide into a stalemate and lead to the division of Sudan into two separate nations.
And finally, from Spanish outlet Ethic, we have a piece about the return of Chabelle, the Spanish doll that rivaled Barbie in the 80s and 90s. Chabelle fashion dolls were an icon of her era and a favorite among Spanish girls, and the creators of the remade doll say they hope it gives the adults that played with the dolls as a child the chance to pass it down to kids of their own.
We're wrapping things up today with our daily quiz question, which comes to us from Christie's Auction House in New York. Christie's will host for the first time a groundbreaking auction entirely dedicated to what kind of art? Is it A, AI art, B, memes, C, influencer selfies, or D, paintings created by dogs? The correct answer is A. Christie's will hold from February the 20th to March 5th a sale dedicated entirely to art created with artificial intelligence in New York. This marks the first time a major auction house has hosted an exclusive AI art auction. The sale will include NFTs as well as physical works such as sculptures, paintings, and prints.
That's the latest from around the world. If you liked this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, a share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English every day, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain.